Hello, hello, and welcome to Self-Care is Sexy. My name is Chris, and I'll be your host. We're a podcast that's here to generate and share self-care ideas with each other. My last episode was all about boundary setting. We went through big boundaries and how to set them. We went through small boundaries and how to set them. And we even went through the deep, dark tunnels of how to set boundaries with yourself. If that's something you're working on, I'm telling you to check it out. It's a great episode. You can find all our shows on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podbean, PodNation, Apple Podcasts. Alexa will play the Self-Care is Sexy podcast for you. Really, anywhere you get your podcasts from. All right, I want to give you a quick preview of what to expect from today's show. Today, I'm bringing you a very special interview with an incredible person that I'm so excited to have you guys meet. This is my interview with Sierrena. Now, she is a mom of 3 kiddos, and she talks about how self-care has been very difficult for her. She gets really vulnerable sharing about loss and just how tough it can be for self-care. So if you're really looking for some connection with a real person who is talking about self-care in a very genuine way, this is a great episode. I'm so pleased and so honored to bring you this show. Enjoy my interview with Sierrena.
All right. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you so much for doing this. I know you're kind of nervous about being on the podcast, but I really appreciate it because I think you have an incredible story to tell. And I think a lot of listeners are going to get a lot out of what you got going on. So let's get started by just having you introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm Sierrena. I am currently in Florida, originally from Washington. I have 3 kids, a daughter who's 20 and 2 sons that are 11 and 7. Job at in office manufacturing patches for the military, married, and that's about my life.
I bet with 3 kids, especially with such kind of wide range ages, that's a lot of work. Do you find yourself constantly running around with them?
One way or another.
So are all 3 kids living at home? The 3, the 11, are the 11, 7, and 20-year-olds, are they all at home?
No, my daughter has moved to another part of Florida, and she is spreading her wings and giving her mom heart palpitations. So
I suppose that's what happens when they turn 20.
Yeah, and she's fixing to be bar age, so it's going to only get better.
Oh, wow. Have you guys had the talk about, kind of responsible drinking and, being aware of...
Responsible drinking. I got her the scrunchie that you can wear on your wrist, and then you can cover your drink with it, and it's got a hole for your straw. Don't leave drinks unattended. Paranoid mom thing.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you prepared her for, unfortunately, the not so safe reality of going out these days. So you got 3 kids, you got an office job, you're married, you're in Florida. It does sound like you're pretty busy. Do you get much time to do self-care?
I'm not great at it. I try about once every 3 weeks to maybe get my nails done, or I go out in my garage and hit this heavy bag or speed bag for about 10 minutes when I can. I ride my 4-wheeler when I can, but not a whole lot. Mostly it's maintaining small humans being alive and large humans being alive and a house.
Yeah. Kind of sounds like you have 4 kids, really.
Well, yeah, and then he brings his friends over, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like that you're honest about it, that, self-care is not easy. And this idea that we have to be good at all the things all the time, that kind of perfectionistic thinking I think it's a big reason why a lot of people have a hard time with self-care. And that's specifically why I wanted to interview you and have you on the podcast, is because I think a lot of people can identify with how hard it is to make that time. But the fact that you recognize that, I think, is huge. If you look at it, is there any one thing, or is there anything that stands out more than another as to why it's so difficult to get self-care in on a more consistent basis, more than once every couple weeks?
Honestly, for me, it's how to word it properly without it sounding bad, finding myself to be important enough. I place a lot of importance on being a mom and being there for my kids, and making sure my family has what they need. And so being able to do all of that means putting myself on a back burner.
Is that something you've kind of done throughout your whole life, or is it just kind of kicked in since you became a mom?
Oh, definitely since I became a mom. My children have always been my whole world.
And that must be difficult when one of them's, like you said, spreading your wings and taking off. There goes your whole world, or like 1/3 of it walking out the door.
Yep. And they don't make enough duct tape. Strap it around the ankle and just, yeah. Yep, and I can't protect her from everything, which is very difficult. And that's the same thing with my other two. They just started public school, and they're going to hit bumps in the road on that, and I'm not going to protect them from that either. So
it's a lot of pressure.
Yep. Hence the speed bag and the heavy bag in the garage.
So if you feel comfortable, I want to kind of dig a little deeper on the not feeling important enough. Do you think that there's a way that you could start to look at things differently or do things differently to help yourself feel worthy enough and important enough to take time for yourself?
I don't know.
Well,
I know it's something I need to do. I learned a long time ago, was told a long time ago that you can't take care of yourself or others until you take care of yourself. And that's true. And I told that to my mother, I don't know how many times. So I know it's true. It's just very hard to get through a stubborn head.
Your stubborn head, or?
Yeah, mine. Yeah. My mom's too, but mine predominantly. Yeah. But I'm working on it, which is why I do the little things when I do them. Otherwise, I just wouldn't do them at all. I finally buckled about a year and a half ago, and got on medication that I needed to get on, and that has helped, and I just keep swimming.
I love that. Just keep swimming. What prompted you to get on meds?
My world started going cattywampus. One of my best friends passed away, and I no longer knew how to see the world. And I decided I needed help with that. And so I got on medicine, and I didn't think it was helping, and it turns out it was. I found out when I ran out of refills unknowingly and went about a week without it, that it actually was helping. So
it's a shitty way to figure that out.
Yeah. But at least I figured it out.
Yes, and that's huge. Being aware is such a big component to whether or not you're going to actually take time for yourself and take care of yourself. When you're unaware of it and you're just sort of like on autopilot or, kind of get her done mode, that's when it's really detrimental. There's no real, what do you call it? There's no real like safety net in those situations.
Right.
And this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you specifically. Because I think when we talk to a lot of people on the show that kind of, they seem like they've got their shit together. They can, they've got some kind of like consistent self-care routine. They really understand and like buy into how important it is. And sometimes I feel like we're not getting the real perspective of how hard it is to make time for self-care, for taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you being vulnerable with me. I know that can be really scary. So thank you, Sierrena. That means a ton.
Only you.
And, thank you. And I do want to say, so you had mentioned that one of the catalysts for you getting on some medication for mental health was that your best friend passed away. And a lot of the listeners might not know this, but your best friend, also a very dear friend of mine, Tracy, was on our show, and she was actually the first person that I interviewed on this show. I want to talk a little bit about, if you're open to it, if you're feeling okay. I want to really honor your headspace. But I want to talk a little bit about your self-care and how your taking care of yourself has changed since she passed away.
Oh, Lord. I've had to find other ways, because before I would just talk to her, and that's not so much an option.
When you have someone in your life that you really lean on for venting and advice, and then they're taken away from you, it leaves such an enormous hole. And what I know from being your friend all these years, and what I can hear from you and talking with you today, is that it's been really, really difficult to try and fill that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that it's not as easy anymore because she's not there to talk to. Have you been able to develop any other friendships or get some communication started with some other people around you?
Not really. You.
Yeah.
My dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly I just kind of go through it.
Yeah. Is there something that you might be able to do today to take care of yourself? I mean, after this conversation and getting in the feels, is there something that you could do today to kind of soothe yourself and honor the fact that this is difficult? It's a difficult conversation to have.
Well, I decided to take the day off, and the kids aren't here, so I will probably be going in the living room and doing some housework, because that's what I do, because I'm a mom, and I'm off, and I'm going to do it. But I'll probably turn on my record player. Yes, I have record player. It plays actual records.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I'll throw on some Joan Jett.
Huh? Oh, yes, Joan Jett.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
So I'll probably be doing that. I'll probably be being a typical, 80s, 90s kid and, cleaning my house, listening to music.
And that, for you, that feels like a form of, self-care, something that makes you feel better?
Yeah, it does, because it gets me out of my own head.
Yeah. When you're focused on, getting stuff done, and then you're not thinking so much about your emotions.
Well, that, and I'm dancing around like a lunatic and singing at the top of my voice. But, yeah, and the cleaning, too, yeah.
Yes, and the cleaning, yes. So what I hear you saying is that chores are just an excuse for a dance party at the house.
Right.
I love that. That's crazy how music can really be such a huge mood changer.
Oh, God.
It can really.
It's therapy.
For real. Yeah, if you ever are like in a shitty headspace, if you can turn on good music, man, that is the easiest, fastest, cheapest way to change your mood for sure.
Yeah, I have specific playlists for whatever mood I want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I'm a dork like that.
No, I love that. I love that idea.
Yep. It helps me, like when I'm really mad, I have a rage playlist that I hit the speed bag to, and it helps me work through that so I don't want to pummel somebody. Not that I would get physically violent with anyone, but it makes me feel better.
Man, I fear that day.
There's some Pearl Jam on there, girl.
I know, right? I love some Pearl Jam, for sure. When you're doing the speed bag, do you have gloves on, or is it just are you wrapped, or how do you do that?
The speed bag is barehanded. The heavy bag, I wear gloves.
Dang, that's some macho shit right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic. I had no idea. All my brothers hitting things all through their lives. I'm like, now I know why they did it.
How did you stumble upon that, the speed bag and the heavy bag? How did you get into that?
Well, a neighbor of my mother-in-law's was a former Marine, and he taught boxing to kids, and he offered to teach my sons how to box for free, and I was like, okay, cool. And so we did that because it was like, okay, get the kids out of the house for an hour, doing something physical activity, yay! So we bought a heavy bag and a speed bag, put it in the garage. The kids don't use it. The husband doesn't use it, but I use the crap out of it because it's very, like I said, therapeutic, and I just paid attention to what the guy was saying when the kids were getting the lessons and reused that information on my own.
Rad, like a little 2-for-1 special.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was great.
Well, I'm glad that you have that as an outlet because it's so important to be able to just unleash what's going on and not keep it bottled up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't thank you enough for talking to me today about this stuff. And I know, there might be somebody who hears this podcast when it airs or, maybe even years after it airs, and it will speak to them. And I just want you to know you don't even know how many people you've helped just by being honest and vulnerable and letting us see that, you know what, self-care is not always easy and sunshiny and, it's a lot of work. It's sometimes pretty painful. And I'm really proud of you because I know you've been working at it. And we're not claiming to be perfect. We're trying the best we can. And I love you for that. I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking with me today.
Well, you're welcome. I love you very much.